Yay. Whew. July. I don't know how the energies are for you as we hit the mid mark of 2024, but uh, they have been very intense for me in the last couple of months. Lots of moving around and lots of feeling like what's that? I want to say feeling fragmentation to a certain point, like things are structures are falling, they're kind of falling apart in the world, whether or not they admit it, they are, and structures are falling apart within us as a, it's mirroring each other. Now, the thing with structures falling apart, or parts of your identity falling apart, or things you thought were really important falling apart, or blah blah blah. There's two kinds of falling apart. There's two kinds of turmoil of falling apart. There is people that step up and decide that they want to be part of the change and they want to be active, workers, pillars of light, the spiritual seekers that are like, I'm willing to do the work. No matter what, I want the truth, no matter what. I want to be connected to my soul, no matter what. Okay. So that's kind of like our gang and whoever watches videos like this on YouTube. The turmoil we are going through is the turmoil of all the structures in us and around us that stand in the way of that are falling apart, whether it be the grip that our mind had over us, whether it be, old belief systems that made us feel safe before, or, gave us ways to see things that all of a sudden it's like, whoa, the more we look at things through them, the more it looks distorted. Example just of like mental illnesses, like if you start looking at dictionaries or whatever videos about mental illness, you'll be like, I have all of them. Just because we're going through a bunch of stuff, like, oh, I thought of myself instead of that person, I'm a narcissist. It's like, no, 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 no. Calm down. so so just one example, right? Like that safety of like, I have this and I can diagnose what I'm going through with this. And then you start looking at it. And maybe before that would have given you some kind of like, oh, okay, that's what I am. Okay, I'm bipolar. Okay, I got it. But now what that does is it's just like, I'm bipolar. What can I do? No, no, no. It's no good. Anything that's creating anxiety and turmoil in your life is letting you know that shit's got to go. It's got to go. It's not serving you. And the more we let go of it, the more we face the deep-seated terror and fear of like, okay, I'm gonna let it go, even though it was a form of safety for a long time before that. I'm willing to let it go. It's still gonna be scary. It's still like standing on the cliff of, and you don't know what's there, and you gotta fall. And then all of a sudden, all of that is available. All of that. So that's one kind of turmoil. That's the turmoil we're going through. That's the turmoil that the work we're doing is there to help kind of stabilize, help us ground, even when we're freaking out and everything's, looks like it's falling apart. And then there is turmoil that other people go through, which is the turmoil of, I don't want anything to change. So that's an important thing to realize and come to terms with and accept and have compassion for. There are people for who all the changes going on, the changes are going to happen. Okay, it's not a question of they can't stop it. They can't stop it, but they can resist the shit out of it, and that hurts them, hurts their surroundings, and it creates an even bigger workshop for us that are going through the spiritual turmoil of willingly accepting to transform, to be in the same field as that energy of, no, I don't want things to change, and I don't want you to change. It's a really hard one. It's a really hard one because for your subconscious mind, the way it protects you is by you fulfilling other people's requirements, by you being who they need you to be so that they feel safe. Because if they don't feel safe and they lash out and freak out, you won't be safe. So that's how your subconscious mind thinks, anyways. So you've already got the internal thing going on of like, I know I said yes to this, but oh my God, how much of my life needs to fall apart? Like, how much do I need to lose? We've got that internal thing going on. And then there's an external, I want to say oppression, but it's not the right word. There's an oppression. There's an external, well, I guess oppression, that's why I come through as a word. There's an external thing going on too. So it's happening on both sides. Being a pillar is getting to the place where there can be inner turmoil and outer turmoil, and you can still stand in, the I, capital I. You can still stand. Calm. And being able to be in that place of a calm pillar is something we accomplish. I don't like that word, but it's something we embody by stabilizing ourselves so that all of our energies and forms of intelligence can coexist together. If I would talk about this as like a 10-directional thing, like let's say we would think about your physical intelligence, your emotional intelligence, your mental intelligence, your spiritual intelligence, your soul intelligence. All of these are different levels, and they can all coexist. There's only one of those levels that judges and decides that the other levels are wrong or bad. So, pillar of light equals you have understood you need to be in your heart. You need to be centered deep in your heart, so that you can be like, oh, it's like listening to les souris dans le grenier. It's like listening to the pitter patter of rats in the attic or something. You're not in there anymore freaking out about it. You're back in a place where you're grounded in your heart. And that this is it. This is the place that we want to be. You, as a pillar of light, the center is your heart. At an even deeper level is your core star, but remember, the core star wells up into the heart. That's how it enters. That's how your divine essence expresses itself through your aura. So that centerpiece, that's beautiful, actually. Centerpiece, as in Piece, and centerpiece, as in Peace. The piece of being centered, the centerpiece of you, the work of art that you are, the divine essence and soul that came here to play. That's all from the heart. You can't resolve what the chatter in your mind is blah, blah, blahing about in the mind. You can't resolve it. You can't. You can talk it down. You can calm it down, but you cannot resolve it because it doesn't need solving. You need to come back to your center. So it's such a key. The center of your pillar is your heart. You cannot be a centered, stable, grounded vessel that's able to bring in more and more consciousness and light into the earth, into the world. You cannot do that without being, first and foremost, relocated in your heart. Right? So as I'm talking, just already relocate Relocate in your heart. You can hear what I'm saying and be in your heart. It's not like, okay, I need, she's talking, I need to be in my head and listen. No, no, no. You can hear what I'm saying with your head, but it's in the heart that you hear it for real. So all together, we're just kind of like, the gravity. Let gravity bring you into your true home. Home, heart, heart, home. Hmm. And your heart, the center of your being, is connected to the heart of the earth and the heart of creation, the heart of Gaia and the heart of God. We don't connect through the mind, we connect through the heart. If you think about any deep connection you've had with another human being, it was at the heart level. That's where it's deep. That's the subjective, experiential reality of like, oh my God, that's connection. And this is the same frequency and level of connection that we are looking for between you and your soul, between like you, your little human experience in this human body, and your soul, a much vaster part of you. So you want that connection there inside your heart between the human you and the soul. And that connection is mirrored by the triple heart connection to the heart of God and the heart of Gaia. That line of light from the crown down the central line into and through the root. And feel that central line. It's much, much larger, much longer than only your central line. That line of light goes all the way down to the heart of the earth, and it goes all the way up to the heart of creation. So, as I said at the beginning of the year, my goal this year is for us to transition from ego integrity to soul sovereignty. And when I say that, like, I mean, being in that integrity with yourself, which is about, I have to be in integrity with my beliefs and my values and what people have told me is right or wrong. I have to be in integrity in a way that ensures that I will be accepted in the world. So that's like the egoic integrity of still living in a society that's governed by the plexus and the mind. And then there's our soul sovereignty. And that's where we want to go. That soul sovereignty is you living from your heart. You living from the center, your heart. That's your true sovereignty. It's a much vaster space. And there are a lot less rules going on in there about what you need to do or be or this or that, the blah, 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 blah. Actually, there is no blah, blah, blah. Deep in that sacred heart space, there's just a pure knowing. Like, if I can help you this year transition from kind of like spinning in a world of like, how do I live up to this? And how do I live up to that? And how can I be a good person? And how can I be a pillar of light? And how can I be selfless? How can I not be whatever? If I can help you transition from that, how into literally the now of being in your heart, where all that is known in real time. All that is known in real time. There's no need to figure out how. In a situation where you're like, how should I act right now? You dip into your heart. To me, that's like soul sovereignty is accepting that your soul and the wisdom in your heart will always, always know better than you, ego mind, what the right thing to do is in that time, in that moment. And it might sometimes look completely crazy to the mind to do it. Just like it looks completely crazy to the mind right now that everything's falling apart. And how is that a good thing? But it's a great thing. So in the heart, triple heart connection, heart of God, heart of Gaia, you are the bridge. The pillar can only be formed by you. This is important to understand. In order for more light or higher frequency to get anchored deep into the earth, it needs to come through vessels. It needs to come through conscious beings. And not only that, but conscious beings that are in physical bodies. Like, I wish I could stress this enough. Like, your physical body is needed in order for the immensity of the light that wants to pour into this reality, matrix, whatever you want to call it, hologram, blah, blah. It needs us to be like, I'm willing to do this. I will declutter my energy field and come on through. I accept to be a pillar of divine light. I am not talking about channeling beings right now. Really important. Not talking about I'm gonna open up to whatever wants to talk to me or no, whoa, 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 whoa. No. We're talking about spiritual. I'm talking about you being a spiritual pillar, understanding your physical body is the vessel through which, like the particles of light of ascension can come through. This is very neutral. No beings, please, please don't channel beings. So yeah, this tiny little piece I want to finish on. Just keep your eyes closed, stay in the heart. You know, we are running a bunch of programs. There's a bunch of programs in our brain. Some of them are just pure survival programs. We have them just like, animals have them. Other ones are programs about how we need to act to belong and be safe and be protected by the group that we're in. Some of them are programs that we decided I have to act like this or else mom, blah, blah, blah. Like, and then other ones, even deeper ones are karmic proclivities and, things from past lives. But all of these things, it's all kind of like swirling around. And then your mind is trying to figure out how to function in the world. Like, no wonder it's burnt out and no wonder it's in overdrive. It can't figure it out. It can strategize and manipulate and do things like that. And most of the time it's not going to work anyways. And then it's like, oh, I didn't strategize well enough. I need to do 3 times more work next time. But it creates this ground in our mind where there is a constant conflict. And some of them are super simple. It's just like conflict, like I want to be free to do whatever I want, and then I need to be accepted and loved by other people, and then that ends up being a conflict in us. Because if you would just walk around doing whatever you want, then you just, maybe a lot of people wouldn't want to talk to you anymore. And that's okay. But if we stop getting stuck in the mind and like this or like that, or I want this, but I want that, and it's either this or that, and we go, no, 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 no more of that. In the heart, your heart knows in real time what the most appropriate action is. It always does. We just doubt it and go back in our minds to rehash it. So just, landing in your heart. No matter what swirly stuff's going on in the head, we land in the heart. And you kind of spread yourself into your body. You're centered in your heart, but you spread yourself into your body. The body is a really yummy place to hang out. We've just kind of forgotten it, because most of us kept a lot of pain in there, and then we don't want to go in there because we're afraid we're going to feel it. But I'm telling you, the more you're willing to go in your body and feel whatever's there and kind of declutter that environment, the more you'll realize there is nowhere you will feel safer than in your body. You will never feel safe in your mind. It's always going to be like, yeah, but what about this? What about that? Your body, once you come back into it with an open heart and you demonstrate to it, I'm willing to come and meet you wherever there's something going on. Let me just come and hang out from the heart space with this energy. The more you're willing to do this, the more your body will trust you. Because trust is in the body. I was talking about that 2 weeks ago. Trust is physical. It's like a chemical, physical. You knowing, it's all good. It's a paradox, really. You think it's the world that makes me feel unsafe. And it's like, no, it's more, it's your mind. It's your mind's reaction. Come back to the safety of your body. It is safe for you to be in your body. It's your vessel. It's your casita. It's your little house. And instead of flooding it with all these what ifs of the mind that end up creating all this stress, we make this decision that you will be your best friend. You will be your loving ally. You will be a loving ally to yourself. And you will allow your body to know and trust. That's the biggest benefit of coming back in your heart and really learning to live from this place of, I will know in real time what the most appropriate action is. I'm not saying it's easy to do this, but we get better and better at it. It only takes, a couple of times of being in that place where the mind's freaking out, and then you're like, whoa, wait a minute. Elevator down, drop into the body, deep into the heart, and then it's like, okay, what does my heart know? What does my heart know right now is the appropriate thing to do? And what's the word I'm looking for? Avertissement, warning, your mind will most likely not agree. But once it's tasted the peace of you having a body that knows how to trust and feel safe, and a mind that's calm and peaceful, it'll be more and more in agreement, more and more congruent, and more not only willing to listen to the heart, but eventually your mind gets to the place where it awaits its commands from the heart. The system has finally come back into its true alignment. The heart knows. The question is, can we listen? So there's this, before we go deeper into the meditation, there's just, and I stopped the video for the YouTube thing. There's this movie. It's a cute movie. It's called Risen. Basically, it's a Roman, whatever, a Roman soldier in the time of Jesus. And long story short, he sees Jesus die on the cross, and then whatever, like 3 or 4 days later, there's rumors that he's alive, and his boss tells him go find whoever is make believing that they're him and go make sure that blah blah blah. Anyways, and he goes and he finds, and he sees Jesus ressuscité, like he sees him alive, like flesh and bone, like, and it just completely cognitive dissonant. It just broke. It broke his matrix, like he just dropped his sword and he was like, eh. Anyway, but long story short, and then whatever, a couple of days later, a second time Jesus reappears, and they're sitting on a rock together. And there's just this moment, where Jesus just looks at him and he's like, what is it that you seek? What is it that you seek? And it's like he gives examples, whatever, peace on earth, or blah blah blah. He does such things, and you can see that it's not affecting the soldier. Like he's more than willing to listen. And Jesus looks at him and he just says, a day without death. Because the guy's a soldier, he's been killing people and his face, that it's worth seeing that movie just for these 30 seconds of the man's face when it's just like, yes, and like the tears that want to roll, like, oh yes, that's direct heart communication. Our heart knows. Our heart knows. Oof, sorry. It makes me emotional because it's what we all seek. Like imagine when someone just really sees you and sees exactly. That's what I want for you. I want you to have that relationship in yourself. I want your heart to be able to like kind of like almost just hold your ego and your inner child and let it know, like, I know what you need. I know what you seek. And it's right here. I have it for you right here. Just come. So yeah, it's each of us, there's like that unique thing. And it's like as soon as someone says it, or even better, if your heart can say it to you, man, something happens. There's a melting, there's a falling apart in a really good way, a melting and dissolving and destruction of, whatever you want to call it. Your egoic structure that needs to be right, or your defense structure that's prime directive is, I need to protect you from feeling. Whatever it is, when the truth hits, it melts something. And every single one of us, that is what we crave the most, to have that moment where that boom, and the mind can't argue with it. That's how powerful it is. It just goes, yes, that. Mm. And then all of a sudden it's like whatever you thought you had to do to eventually feel that, however many other people you had to kill before you had money to buy a house and retire somewhere, that's gone. You realize it's right here. So that's the truth. That's the truth of the heart. The heart knows your truth. Your heart is your truth. So we're going to keep going deeper into the heart and the pillar. I'm just gonna put a little mini pause on the video and just say to anyone watching this on YouTube, if you want to join us in these calls, there's a link in the description below where you can book a call with me and we can assess if this is right for you and at this time in your life. And for the rest of us, let's continue.